What's a uniquely European problem? Renovating your house only to discover a Roman fort in your basement, which puts the reno on hold for 2 years. Sometimes it's cheaper to fly to another EU country than to the city in your country. Not getting any cool stamps in the passport when traveling through Europe. Russians on AskReddit servers. The wrong song representing your country in Eurovision. Still bitter. Paying for public toilets. This content is not available in your region. Speaking many languages but only in the formal polite forms instead of the slangs and curses. Driving 4 hours to see the Eiffel Tower, and getting caught up in a riot. American recipes that require a packet or a can of ready-made Old J's secret mix. Having to translate American recipes to real units. Missing an exit and accidentally driving through Belgium. Being at a social function where people randomly switch between 4 different languages. Being redirected to the regional website even though you don't speak the local language. Not being able to get to work because they dug up another WW2 bomb and need to shut down a whole neighborhood. Never being more than a 2-hour walk from civilization. Remembering the default speed limits of every neighboring country. Winters that are cold enough to make summer sports impossible, but not cold enough to make winter sports possible. Not being sure of exactly what country you're in sometimes, when you're driving through some border regions. Taking a detour through Germany or France depending on traffic conditions. It's cheaper to take 2-week holiday to Mallorca than a 10-day nature trip to Center Parks. The Balkans. Source: I'm from the Balkans. Ryanair. Might as well pay extra for breathing in the plane. The vodka got expensive again. The UK. Cigarette butts. Cigarette butts everywhere. Ever go to Barcelona? The place is basically one big ashtray. Debating with your family in which of the neighboring countries you should do the groceries today. Having to Google does X take the euro every time? If the country doesn't, then you're coming home with lots of fiddling small change that the banks won't deal with. In my drawer right now I have 20 Croatian kunas, 418 Ukrainian hryvnias, 50 Russian rubles, 100 Hungarian forint, 3.17 euros, 1000 Albanian leka and 25 Bulgarian leva. Having to pay £5 for the hospital car park but your treatment is free. Such a first world problem. Despite all the data mining, Google will still suggest me website in German even if it knows that I only speak French. Edit: yes, I also speak English, but on local websites there is either French or German, so the website will automatically set the German option despite my location being in the French-speaking part of my country. Despite having the euro, still having to occasionally change currency when going to other European countries. Popping over to your friend in the next country over only to find out they have the wrong configuration of 2/3 pins, only to have to quickly drive back over the border to pick up your adapter so you can charge your phone. In the kitchen you are Italian. In the bedroom you are French. But, in the bathroom, European. People not speaking in online games since they don't speak English as their first language and are insecure about it. Having Americans thinking Europe is a unified culture, rather than 50 separate countries. Tourists trying to be Irish. Small roads. Dunno if this is just England. But my street can only fit one car and a skinny person, and the main road, outside it, can barely squeeze a bus and a big van. Article 13. Having to dig massive catacombs under cities to store all the dead bodies. English tourists. Everywhere has them, but in Europe you get the best of them. Paying in the same currency without knowing any word of the other person's language. When someone from the USA says Europe, they almost always mean France and the UK and don't even know about the existence of your nation. Living in CH but grocery shopping in FR. Viking raids. Having a website in Russian language automatically because some people still think your country is part of Soviet Union. Russians behind your eastern border. This one country that wants to leave but wants a good deal, but this one woman's ideas for the deal are just bad and have been voted against 3 times, but nobody else wants to make a deal and they are supposed to leave in less than 2 weeks. How many cheek kisses do I do here? In France it's 2. In the Netherlands, it's 3. Are there more kisses in other places? How many kisses are acceptable in formal situations? Please, can't we just shake hands awkwardly like in the UK? I've worked a lot in France, I'm English, live in the Netherlands. I still get worked up about kisses, it isn't the Brit way, face with tears of joy. Edit. I am reliably informed by 2 commenters here that France is a country of many regional kiss variations. From 1 up to 5. Help. Being forced to learn 4 different languages in school. Edit. From the Netherlands. I speak Frisian, native language in my area, so it's only obligated in my area. Dutch, English, and you can choose between German, French, Spanish, Chinese, Latin or Ancient Greek. Edit 2. Don't know what it's called in English, but I'm at the highest level in high school. Athenaeum in Dutch, Gymnasium in German. On my, and many more, school Frisian, Dutch and English are obligated. If you're not dyslexic you have to choose another language. Having to know something about American units, feet, inches, Fahrenheit, ounces, just to understand internet conversations. Especially Fahrenheit is confusing, at least with inches and feet I kind of know how much centimeter it is, so I can make a rough guess how much it is, but with Fahrenheit I have no clue till I type it into Google to convert it to Celsius. Similar with US hardiness zones in gardening circles. I learned the Köppen climate classification system in high school, but then people online say stuff like I live in zone 6 am and I have no idea what that means. Hot, cold, wet, dry. If they'd just say something like I live in a CF climate I'd understand, maritime climate with plenty of rain all year. Or even just a broader maritime climate I'd understand. But those zones I can't even convert into Köppen climates since it uses other characteristics to divide climates, so whenever I run into those climate zones the best I can do is look up a US hardiness zones map of Europe, look what part of Europe has the zone mentioned, and make a guess about what kind of climate it is based on that. But that's a lot of work to do for every comment that mentions a zone, and it's not very precise, especially since I've probably never been to the part of Europe that zone fits with, so I also don't know the climate there exactly. Edit. One strange thing around here though, if there's a TV or computer screen for sale somewhere, they list the screen size in inches. So I never know exactly how big a screen is when looking them up online, only that the 25-inch must be bigger as the 20-inch, but I'd rather buy a screen in store so I can actually see how big it is. Of course I could also use a measuring tape since they often have both centimeter and inches on it, but still, I can't really picture it in inches like I can in centimeter. Having a war every 20 years or so. / sincerely, someone living in the Balkans. Weird nobody mentioned this, running out of bread or bottled water on a Sunday, especially if you're living in the DACH. Edit, just drink tap water you loser. Edit 2, just bake bread at home LMAOSMH. Having to decide how to vote in Eurovision. The French. The Black Plague. Saying goodbye but not leaving. If you mention our teeth one more time. 1848. Americans trying to relate to us by saying 4% insert country.